Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the monthly board meeting of July 15, 2022 for the Washington County Board of Supervisors. At this point in time, Sue Clary, I believe, is there to lead us in prayer. Sue?
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Dear Father, we thank you for this glorious day, and we also thank you for the many retirees and their contributions to our county. Our communities abound with service-minded people, whether it be our farmers, our EMS, our fire volunteers, teachers, caregivers, or the person that just tends the garden, or the person who comes up with an idea and donates their energy and time for the positive. Please keep supporting them all. They are our heartbeat. We are filled with gratitude. Amen.
Yeah. Thank you, Supervisor Clary. Please rise for a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In case of fire or other emergency, there's 3 exits in this room, there, and there. In case of such emergency, please proceed to the nearest exit, find the nearest stairwell, go down and clear the building, get away from the building as far as you can. So, rescue squad and emergency squad do their job. If you need assistance in getting out, please help us. Please contact one of us, we'll be glad to help you. Thank you. And also, please silence your cell phones for this meeting. Thank you, Supervisor O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hankey.
Here.
Mrs. Stedler. Here. Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Mr. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Hall.
Here.
Mr. Fisher. Mr. Hicks.
Here.
Mr. Nolan.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Here.
Mr. Half.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Skelly.
Here.
Mr. Hogan.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mrs. Clary.
Here.
Mr. Griffith.
Here.
Mr. Rosell.
Here. We have a quorum. And now we ask the clerk to read the notice for the public hearing for ACC 22-23 budget.
And we're a little ahead.
Okay.
Legal notice of public hearing on Adirondack Community College tentative budget. Notice is hereby given that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Washington will hold a public hearing in the Supervisors' Chambers, Washington County Municipal Center, Building B, 383 Broadway, Fort Edward, New York, on the 15th day of July, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. for the purpose of hearing testimony in favor of or opposed to the Adirondack Community College budget for the academic year beginning September 1, 2022. The tentative budget is available on the county website. Further notice is hereby given that written comments for the public comment portion of the public hearing can also be sent in advance of the meeting to the email or mailed to the office by order of the Board of Supervisors dated June 21st, 2022.
Okay. And what time we actually scheduled for the public hearing?
10:05.
10:05. Okay. So we've had it read. The schedule for that is 10:05. So we will jump ahead on the agenda, and we will do the presentation of the retirement recognitions, and then we'll move on back door nose to the opening of the actual meeting. Okay. So if I could ask at this time for Supervisor Fedler and Stephen Smith, if Steve is here. Okay. Don's going to accept this on behalf of Steve. Steve had 14 years and 2 months of service in code enforcement. He's done a remarkable job. He's been through the process of the many changes that have gone on in code enforcement, and we wish him the very, very best in retirement. So, thank you. Thank you, John.
Sam, before you go on, when I first came to the States, I went to 9th grade in Fort Edward, and Steve was in my class.
Really?
Or I was in his class, because he stayed in Fort Edward, and I went to Hartley.
That explains me this is an exceptional job. You tutored me. So you could go.
That explains a couple different things.
We won't mention those, right, Bob? Thank you for sharing that.
Steve was really big into motorcycles back then.
Really? Linda Plesko from the Department of Public Works. Is Linda here? Yeah, Linda, come forward, please, along with Supervisor Skelly, Chair of the Department of Public Works.
I mean, thanks for Linda. That's not Linda.
No,
know what she's receiving. Linda, she's here to receive it for Linda, right? Linda has, spent 33 years and, 3 months in that, Public Works Department. And she, again, has been an employee, has been long-term tenured, and has served us very well. So, thank you, and see that she gets our, appreciate it. Okay, now we'll go back to where we left off, because you want to get that public, notice started on time. It's 10:05. Yep, 10:06, so if we want to go ahead with that, we'll call that public hearing for the ACC 2022-23 budget to order. Does anyone have any comments? Any questions? Going once? Again, are there any questions or comments on the budget? Going twice, are there any questions or comments on the budget? At this point in time, seeing none, we will close the public hearing on the ACC 2022-23 budget. Public hearing on the CDBG grant funding application.
Legal notice of public hearing, Washington County. The Washington County Board of Supervisors will hold a public hearing on July 15, 2022 at 10:05 a.m. The Board of Supervisors Chambers, Washington County Municipal Center, Building B, 383 Broadway, Fort Edward, New York, for the purpose of hearing public comments on Washington County's community development needs and to discuss the possible submission of one or more community development block grant applications for the 2022 program year. The CDBG program is administered by the New York State Office of Community Renewal and will make available to eligible local governments approximately $20 million for the 2022 program year for housing, economic development, public facilities, public infrastructure, and planning activities with the principal purpose of benefiting low, moderate income persons. Washington County is applying for $50,000 in CDBG funds, a technical assistance planning grant, to evaluate senior housing facilities in Washington County. By order of the Board of Supervisors, dated June 21st, 2022.
Okay, it is now 10:07 a.m., and we will call the public hearing for the CDBG grant funding application to order. Comments, do we have any comments? Laura?
Morning, everybody. So we are just required to do a quick reiteration of the availability of funds and to discuss whether the application that the county intends to submit is the best and highest use of the available funds. So as noticed, there are 3 possible categories that the county could apply for, one being public infrastructure, one being public facility, and one being community planning. Because of some operational issues that Homefront Development Corporation has been experiencing, we've chosen to assist the Board of Directors with doing an operational feasibility analysis of Homefront Development Corporation, as well as the 3 senior housing facilities that they own in the county. The intent will be to evaluate the status of the structures, make sure that they are safe for occupancy, and identify any capital improvement costs that are necessary to keep them going, and also to identify a long-term operational plan for Homefront or the possibility of a plan of dissolution. So are there any, and if anybody wants a copy of the application, it's available in my office, and you can request it. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Laura. Does anyone else have any questions? Does anyone have any further questions? Hearing none, we will close at 10:09 a.m. We will close the public hearing on the CDBG grant funding application. Thank you, everyone. We will now continue on with the presentations for the retirement recognitions. At this point in time, if Elizabeth Stanton is here, I'd like to ask her to step forward, and also the chair of the Public Safety Committee. This obviously is Elizabeth, so he's going to receive it on her behalf, and she spent 28 years of service in probation, and again, she's one of those employees that did an outstanding job, and we really appreciate the fact that she put that amount of time in. Again, she's a lady who's been through many changes in the department that she's worked in for 28 years. So thank you for your service, Elizabeth. Public Health, we have, 4 individuals, that we have their, recognition for their retirement. Suzanne Del Signar, if, she's available, please come forward. Renee Harris, she's available. Kathy Jo McIntyre, and, Teresa Roberts. And, so Tina and Teresa are gonna come forward. And these ladies at, Susan Del Signar had 29 years and 2 months. Renee Harris had 20 years. Kathy Jo McIntyre had 34 years. And Teresa Roberts had 36 years. And I don't know where we've been in COVID without these ladies here, so.
Let's see. That goes to you. That goes to you. AJ. And Teresa, this is yours, right?
So ladies, thank you very much for all the years of service. Please relay that message to Tina if you would, please, okay? Please get back here. That's it.
All right.
We will now move on to the condensed minutes. The condensed minutes from the June 17, 2022 meeting are accepted as mailed unless there are any additions or corrections. Does anyone have any additions or corrections? Any additions or corrections? Any additions or corrections? Seeing none, we'll accept as they are and we move forward. Communications. Deb.
For communications from Fulton County, we are in receipt of their resolution number 216, a resolution opposing the Conservation Subdivision Design Bill. From the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, their letter to Governor Hochul to please use New York State funds and/or American Rescue Plan Act funds to pay off the federal loan used to fund the New York State Unemployment Trust Fund loan balance and not to put the high unemployment insurance payouts and in turn debt accrued during COVID-19 on the backs of the business community. That's all I have for communications.
Okay, thank you, Deb. COVID-19 update, Tim, please.
Longer to get there, you lose the computer up front. Good morning, everybody. Just a quick update on the current response to COVID-19 and the stats in our community. So as of this morning, we're back up to 50 active cases. Those are cases that we know about, either home reports that have come into the portal or cases that have come in through the PCR test result program, through the doctor's offices, hospitals, and labs. I am happy to report we only have 1 hospitalization. Our hospitalizations have not been this low in a long time. Last week, they were down to 0, and the severity level of cases that we are seeing are much lower than we had seen in the past, so we are very thankful for that. This week, in reviewing death cases, the infection control team did identify 1 case back from May that was identified as a COVID-19 related death, so that was an 86-year-old resident of one of our communities, unfortunately passed away related to COVID-19. Happy to report we are continuing vaccination efforts. The public health team is doing a great job every Wednesday. Vaccines open, that's first dose, second dose, third dose, any of the boosters anyone's eligible for. All you have to do is call public health. They will get you in every week. Testing continues Monday through Friday at public health. All you have to do is call. They will squeeze you in as fast as they can. And last night they did their first event that was for the new age range, the 6 months to 5 years. There was a total of 31 registered, 26 attended, and everything went very well. It was a good effort again from public health, buildings and grounds, and some of our other ancillary team members that were there to support that effort. So we are happy to report we are continuing on, sad to see the numbers going back up, so we are continuing to be vigilant on that. There are still home tests available at the main entrance downstairs. At DMV, we do have a small amount that are available for anybody who needs some, for organizations or anything like that, and we're going to work on seeing if we can get some additional. We are still operating in that July timeframe of the test we had before, which did receive the 3-month extension. So if there's any questions, yes, sir.
The 50 that you said there, what portion do you think that is, what percentage does that really represent? Because it used to be everything was through public health, and we know it's not that way now. Do we know if that's a third, a quarter, a tenth?
Yeah, we don't know what we don't know. We know only the ones that are being reported to us, certainly know.
that's a lot lower than what's real.
Correct. Yeah, with the wastewater surveillance program, which is only the sewer district, you know, we, in the last week, I think it's back up to a 1% intensity over where it was prior, and we're in the high level for wastewater surveillance. That only includes anything in the sewer district area.
What the region is as well, Glens Falls, almost every station reporting in New York is high.
Yeah. And certainly there are counties around us, so Rensselaer County and then the outlying over towards Hamilton County have jumped up in the CDC level back to medium. We're still in low for right now, so we hope to continue that. And obviously as it goes towards fall and people start to come back inside, certainly we have the same concerns we did before.
And Tim, you said those tests have a 3-month extension, the ones that currently...
Correct.
Any other questions? Thank you, Tim.
All right, thank you.
Committee report, the audit report.
Mr. Chairman, after the audit committee audited the bills, we sent the bills for payment to the board, and recommend they be paid. Thank you.
We have a motion by Supervisor O'Brien. Do we have a second? Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Rozelle, Supervisor Henke. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Nay. Carried. We have a proclamation. I would like at this point in time to call the chairman of our Ag Planning, Tourism, Community Development forward, if you would, please, for a presentation. And I'd like to ask Mr. Michael Biddle to come forward as well, please. And at this time, I would request that the clerk of the board, Mr. Bill, gets here, reads the proclamation.
You could have worn something more than jeans. I know it's casual Friday. Good yourself, buddy.
Proclamation in recognition of Michael Biddle. Whereas Michael Biddle, past President and Chief Executive Officer of the Adirondack Regional Chamber of Commerce, and his family will be relocating from beautiful Washington County to another state in the near future. And whereas Mr. Biddle has admirably provided guidance, insight, encouragement, and vision into a multitude of areas, inclusive of business development, coordination of leverage among state and federal agencies and elected representatives, and emergency response specifically with COVID-19 and the Whitehall flooding. And whereas Mr. Biddle has served on the board of directors for numerous profit and not-for-profit organizations, and whereas the Biddle family, Michael, his wife Wendy, and sons Christian and Reagan have donated numerous volunteer hours within and outside Washington County, helping to enrich the lives of those that need help and assistance. And whereas Michael's professionalism, knowledge, work ethic, and Christian faith have been fully utilized to not only benefit Washington County, but the entire surrounding area, now therefore be it resolved that the Washington County Board of Supervisors do hereby extend deepest appreciation to Michael Biddle for his dedicated and exemplary service to Washington County, and wish him well in all his future endeavors.
Okay, we will now move to the supervisor's privilege of the floor. Did anyone want to say a few words? Anybody requesting privilege of the floor? Any privilege of the floor? Any request for privilege of the floor? Seeing none, we will move on to the introduction of resolutions. And we need a motion to set aside the rules of resolution number 176.
Second.
So moved by James Griffith, and seconded by Supervisor Wilson. Were there any other seconds? Anybody wanted to be counted in that category? All right, so we do that, and the clerk will read the resolves, only starting with resolution number 176.
Resolution number 176 by Supervisor Campbell, titled to authorize prepayment for items and services paid for by the HEAP ARPA funding. Resolved that the Board of Supervisors hereby authorizes prepayment for goods and services procured using KEEP ARPA funding, said funds to still be subject to the regular audit process of the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, Deb. We will now move with the, consideration of the resolutions.
Resolution number 162 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Hicks, Fedler, Clary, Griffith, titled to adopt Adirondack Community College budget.
Moving resolution number 162.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Griffith. Is there any discussion? All, Supervisor Clary, second that also. All those, roll call, yep, okay, sorry. But she had a second on it, that's what I was. And we'll do the roll call.
Mr. Henke?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler? Yes. Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes?
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Haff?
No.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Skelly?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary?
Yes.
Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,025 yes, 183 no, 482 absent. Resolution number 163 by Supervisor Hall, title, Appoint Member of the Counties of Warren and Washington Industrial Development Agency and Civic Development Corporation.
I will move that motion, please. We have seconds. Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Henke. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is Mr. Gonzalez from Washington County?
Yes. Yes, he is. Yeah. Dave, did you want to comment on some of his,
Juan Gonzalez was, in the Navy, retired from the Navy, he was Chief Petty Officer. He worked closely with the admirals, led the Navy in doing, confidential material for them. He was since relocated to Washington County as the Chief Financial Officer of Hunt Corporation's construction company out of Argyle. He's done a lot of community service since he's been back, and we're welcome to have him on board.
thank you. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 164 by Supervisors Skelly, Rozell, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Ferguson, Wilson, Fisher, title, authorize the chairman to sign pledge to reduce road salt memorandum of understanding by municipal governments in the Adirondacks.
Chairman, moving resolution 164.
Moved by Supervisor Skelly. Do we have seconds?
Second.
Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Zell, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Fedler, and Supervisor Henke. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 165 by Supervisors Hicks, Skelly, Campbell, O'Brien, Fedler, Clary, Wilson, title, amend DPW staffing pattern for the summer construction season.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 165.
165 moved by Supervisor Hicks. Do we have second? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Skelly, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 166 by Supervisors Clary, Fedler, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, Wilson, title to award bid for transportation services, public health.
Chairman, moving resolution number 166.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Henke, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 167 by Supervisors Skelly, Rozell, Haff, O'Brien, Fedler, Shaw, Ferguson, Wilson, Fisher, title, authorize the chairman to sign road use and crossing agreement, CHPE LLC and CHPE Properties, Inc., for work on the Champlain Hudson Power Express project.
Moving resolution 167.
Moved by Supervisor Skelly. Do we have second?
Second.
Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Feller, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Shaw, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Shaw.
It might have been mentioned, but I forgot. When is this work going to start on the roads themselves? When will this disruption be caused? Next year or the year after?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
so, the intent of the project is to physically start in the town of Putnam. They had wanted to begin already, but the process of what they have to go through to start maybe at the end of August. We've yet to finalize the road agreement with the town of Putnam, but hopefully they can get in and get a start in the end of August, if not beginning of September.
Will they go through the winter once they start?
Their plan was to try to beat the frost line, so yes. To the greatest extent possible they can.
Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 168 by Supervisors Wilson, Half, Hicks, O'Brien, Clary, Rozell, title authorize the chairman to sign agreement with Department of Defense for a probation department to participate in the DOH Skill Bridge program.
Mr. Chairman, moving resolution 168.
Moved by Supervisor Wilson. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 169 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Stelly, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith. Title, Resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Washington County establishing the Board of Supervisors of Washington County as lead agency pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act relative to the proposed project of the application by the Board of Supervisors to the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Places Snowmobile Trail Grant and Aid application for the year 2022 through 2023.
Moving resolution number 169.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have second? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 170 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith. Title, Resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Washington County issuing a negative declaration pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act relative to the proposed project of the application by the Board of Supervisors to the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Places Snowmobile Trail Grant and Aid application for the year 2022 through 2023.
Moving resolution 170.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan. Any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 171 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith. Title, Amend Grant Budget, County Clerk.
Moving resolution 171.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 172 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith. Title, Standard Workday and Reporting Resolution.
Moving resolution 172.
Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have any seconds? Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Rozell, Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will go to a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Hanky.
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler. Yes. Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mr. Shaw.
Yes.
Mr. Hall.
Yes.
Mr. Hicks.
Yes.
Mr. Nolan.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Mr. Haff.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Skelly.
Yes.
Mr. Hogan.
Yes.
Mr. Wilson.
Yes.
Mrs. Clary.
Yes.
Mr. Griffith.
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Rozell.
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,208 yes, 482 absent. Resolution number 173 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title, authorize the chairman to sign lease for property located at 346 Main Street, Hudson Falls, for office space, Public Defender's Office.
Moving resolution number 173. Moved by Supervisor Campbell. Do we have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Rozell, and Supervisor Nolan. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Abstain.
Supervisor Hogan abstains. Carried.
Resolution number 174 by Supervisors Clary, Fedler, Shaw, Skelly, Ferguson, Wilson, title, to authorize agreement with Southern Adirondack Child Care Network in Washington County for increased child care services within Washington County.
Chairman, moving resolution number 174, please.
Moved by Supervisor Clary. Seconds, please. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Campbell, Supervisor Wilson, Supervisor Griffith, and Supervisor Nolan. Is there any discussion? Supervisor Haff.
I have a question. Why were the towns of Salem, Whitehall, and Cambridge pointed out? Town of Hartford doesn't have any child care services that I know of.
I will ask
Any other town?
the commissioner to comment on that, please.
Yeah, it was a study that had been done by the Child Care Network, and that was what they identified in that, and I stated directly. Not sure why they didn't specify Hartford, if there are any child care providers there, there might be something that you're not aware of. Because they keep the register.
That registry also up to date with some of the stuff? Or do they wait until the expiration of their certificate?
I can't tell you whether they wait until the expiration of it. I know that they are a resource. People to be, I in fact in the past called them, asked for a list of registered child care providers.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Al?
I just wanted to point out that I just noticed in the budget impact statement that it says costs therein are grant funded. These are actually out of the ARP allocation that we gave for fostering childcare. Not grant, they're ARP funds.
Thank you, Al. Any further questions? All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Resolution number 175 by Supervisors Campbell, O'Brien, Half, Hicks, Fedler, Skelly, Clary, Rozell, Wilson, Griffith, title, amend the non-union title by grade schedule to establish pay rate for Special Patrol Officer, Fort Anne Central School District.
Moving resolution number 175. Moved by Supervisor Campbell. A second, Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor O'Brien, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Rozell. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye?
The roll.
I'm sorry, it's a roll call.
Mr. Hanky?
Yes.
Mrs. Fedler?
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson?
Yes.
Mr. Shaw?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
Mr. Hicks?
Yes.
Mr. Nolan?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mr. Half?
Yes.
Mr. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Skelly?
Yes.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson?
Yes.
Mrs. Clary?
Yes.
Mr. Griffith?
Yes.
Mr. Rozell?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted, 4,208 yes, 482 absent. Resolution number 176 by Supervisor Campbell, titled to authorize prepayment for items and services paid for by HEAP ARPA funding.
Moving resolution number 176. Moved by Supervisor Campbell. We have seconds. Supervisor Hanky, Supervisor Fedler, Supervisor Ferguson, Supervisor Griffith, Supervisor Nolan, Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? Supervisor Shaw.
Is this a one-time, deal as far as with this, or this policy now become permanent and we can do this at any time?
It's probably the only time it's ever going to come out that I can imagine, because it's certainly not the way we would like to do things.
Well, that's not what I asked though.
The
You're saying that's probably,
Should be the only time.
okay, that's what I wanted.
If this was ever happen again, I'd.
Well, would it, is it worded just for this one-time purchase?
Yeah, well, that's,
Okay,
you can see
thank you.
the acronym that's in it.
Yeah, it says it's only for those funds.
Yeah.
So when those are the ones that have to be spent by the
I mean, they might,
end of September.
I guess they could send funds under the same acronym again, but doubtful. Any further discussion? We should come back even if we do. All in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And that moves us along now to the supervisor comments. Do we have any supervisor comments? We'll start with the Supervisor Handy.
Just wanted to remind everybody that the, Carol Lufkin Folk for a Cure is, tomorrow. Expo and food and music and vendors and all kinds of good stuff over there, right in the middle of the village of Argyle. So invite you all to show up. Starts at 10 o'clock.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any other supervisors have comments at this time? Supervisor Haff.
I'm sure I'm the only one. That's often the case. But I'm very disturbed that the county is getting involved in vaccinating 6-month-old to 5-month-old children. That should be a crime. 20 years from now, all of our children are going to have cardiac trouble. Experimental vaccine, not even really a vaccine. And once the medical industry that provides vaccines wring all the money out of everybody, they'll start recommending vaccinating newborns. I don't believe anything the CDC says anymore. I used to. It became very political. And I'm just very disturbed that we are vaccinating basically babies.
Thank you, Supervisor Haff. Supervisor Wilson.
Yeah, I want to thank the board for taking steps, any steps that we can take that would enhance access to affordable child care, housing, and health network is a step in the right direction, so thank you for that. Additionally, I'd like to recognize and thank whoever wrote the note inviting me to the opening of the fair. I thought that was just the coolest card and note, and so whoever did that, I will be there. Thank you for the card. I'm going to put that up on the fridge. I've never seen a Holstein do anything like that in the past, and I've been around town a long time. Thank you.
Oh, down the cow with a brown cow. That's not a whole.
Well, we probably already have ours.
Oh, I got a brown cow.
I got a Holstein. I believe.
Yeah, that's not a whole.
Yeah,
No, that's not mine.
Yours was special.
I think they're all different.
I got a Holstein standing on their head.
I think Charlotte Doyle.
Instead of a down dog, it was a down cow.
Yeah.
My brother knows that.
Anyway, whoever came up with that idea, thank you. That was awesome.
Right. I got a couple things. First of all, thank you for that week today.
That is.
I wanted to remind everybody that that's a big event at the fairgrounds. Second thing, I had the honor of being part of the Fred Monroe, tree dedication at the APA in Raybrook yesterday. It was one of the most, I guess, enjoyable things you do in the positions that we're elected to. And not many here probably remember Fred Monroe, but, Fred was a real asset to Warren County and all the years he served there. He was on the IDA board, and then of course he moved on to the Adirondack Review Board. He moved on to the IDA. He was executive director for, I think, 13 years. And just a really nice man that believed in fairness, facts, and solutions. He didn't have time for rehashing all the past. He just wanted results. And he was known as a gentleman warrior because of the way that he listened to all the facts first, and he made the facts work for him. And it was unbelievable to watch and see the genuineness of his wife and his whole family as they spoke about Fred and the things that we didn't know about Fred, but he carried them in every facet of his life. And so really enjoyed that, and just wanted to pass that on and hope that our supervisors in the future will be along the mold of Fred Monroe. Right. James Griffin.
On July 6th, the Cambridge Central School community lost a very special young girl. Nola Brown Murata was diagnosed with epithelial sarcoma 2 years and 3.75 years ago. She fought strong, she fought hard, but unfortunately she succumbed to the cancer. Nola was born in Albany, and she was very loved by the community. She loved art, music, animals, dancing, horse racing, swimming, basketball. She loved the Atlanta Braves, for which her cousin Andy Anderson plays for, Minecraft, pastel rainbows, and everything under the sun. Wolves were her spirit animal, and her favorite color was blue. She had an infectious smile, unbelievable dimples, and the biggest laugh you could hear. The entire community is at a loss, and we thank everybody for their concern and their well wishes to Michelle and Ted and Neve, her sister. This last Wednesday night, many in the community held a candlelight vigil at Cambridge Central School in recognition of Nola. I want to bring that to everybody's attention. Thank you.
James. Are there any other supervisor comments?
Chairman?
Yes. What did I miss? Sue, there you are.
Sorry,
Yes,
guys. I ditto Jim Griffith's love for Nola and her family. The surrounding communities feel the same way. Daryl, I put my cow invitation on my refrigerator this morning because I felt the same way. That personal touch meant a great deal. It was very sweet. Regarding Salem, we celebrate our 20th birthday at the courthouse, where the courthouse was the jail by Washington County. And now we use it as a community center, and we celebrate our 20th year this year with our alfresco dinner, August 13th. I hope that some of you can come. I also want to thank the Washington County Sheriff and Public Safety for a couple of things. They helped tremendously with our Art and Plow Fest parade, and walked us through the Perm 33B and they're just always present, and I can't thank them enough. During our storm the other night, we had over 1,200 people out with electrical outages, and between our public safety and dispatch and hands on the ground people helping, and Melanie Putnam through New York State Electric and Gas, they were all hands on, and thank God for teamwork, because it's amazing how things can get done quickly and efficiently. So a big shout out to Washington County for all their help with all of that. So thanks.
Thank you, Sue. Other comments? Brent?
One more thing, since Sue's on there, it just made me think of it. So we met with the college, and back when Chris and Ryan Moore were first here working with the college, they wanted to change the way the college is funded. So right now, it's by enrollment, and it's like 58-42. I don't know if I'll get it exactly right. And they would like to change it to assessment, which is actually how we pay capital projects now, which is like 68-32, somewhere along those lines. So it's a big change. So we're trying to set up a joint meeting between higher education. They're not going to set up a meeting.
No meeting at this point.
Right, we're trying to set it up.
No, there's not going to be a meeting right now.
They do not want to meet right now.
We're in the process of setting up a meeting.
A meeting.
I have been in correspondence with the Warren County Administrator, and we're trying to figure it out, but it looks like at this point it's not going to be a joint committee meeting to start with. They have some meetings they need to have first, and then we'll probably set something up after that.
So anyway, it's being discussed, it's out there. Basically, it would pay for the college the same way we pay for the capital plan. For us, it's a decrease in our percentage, but at the same time, they're trying to increase the percentage overall to the college. So the way it's set up at the moment, for us, it would really not be a change of what we are doing. It'll be a change on their end, because as the level goes up, they pay more. We keep at the same level we're at until they get to the higher level. So it's well thought out. Whether he can accomplish that in this county, I don't know. I just
So in closing, I would just like to take this opportunity, we're over at halfway through the year. I want to thank the department heads, I want to thank the county administrator, I want to thank county attorney, Deb and her staff, and you supervisors for all the hard work you put in over the course of time through the committee meeting process to get things worked out, discussed, debated, philosophies put out there, ideas put out there, so that we can continue to move things forward. That process works very well. I know you all contribute a lot of time and effort to that. We sometimes agree, sometimes we don't agree, but you're to be commended for all the effort that you and the department heads and the cooperation of everyone and our staff to make these things work. And it's identifiable here as we go through the resolutions, and we've already had a lot of discussion, a lot of leadership from the committee chairs, and the support of all the supervisors to move it in whatever direction it may be moved. So thank you very much. Enjoy the next month before we meet collectively as a unit again. And be safe out there if you would. And we stand adjourned. Thank you.